L1.
How's my flag? Is my flag? Yeah.
Maybe one that hangs down.
Yeah, and in this corner. Ooh, mine's on. Yep.
Okay, now I'll call the meeting of the Carbon County Board of Commissioners to order. Please rise for a moment of silence, prayer, and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, thank you for each body, mind, and heart of those participating in this meeting, as well as the lives that we will encounter afterwards. Strengthen our confidence in who you have made us to be. I believe that you will guide us in this meeting so that positive results can be seen days, months, and even years after today. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
These proceedings are being recorded for the sole purpose of constituting the accuracy of written minutes. Tapes are reused, eliminating recorded records of these proceedings. Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting held May 7th, 2022.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes, are there any guests concerning county business at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on.
Next item is a resolution for adoption supporting increased mental health funding. It's resolution number 2022-015.
Motion to adopt resolution.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes. I'd like to read this now. Requesting appropriate funding to support the crumbling mental health system in the fiscal year 2022 to 2023 state budget. Whereas counties provide essential community-based mental health services such as crisis intervention, community residential programs, family-based support, and outpatient care. Whereas which are extremely critical to the well-being of our constituents and our communities. Whereas the providers of community-based mental health services, counties are seeing demands for mental health services in communities that far exceed state funding levels, and without adequate and substantial funding, counties may not be able to meet the mental health needs of some of our most vulnerable residents. And whereas in 2012, the Commonwealth cut $84 million that counties used to fund for programs with intellectual disabilities, mental health challenges, and other needs, forcing programs to close and putting the human services systems into a vulnerable state. And whereas the membership of the Carbon County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania, CCAP, made the top priority of the association's advocacy in 2022, the appropriate funding to support the crumbling mental health system. And whereas state funding has lagged far behind needs and caseloads for years, which has negatively affected services, which also putting tension on communities and local budgets. And whereas the Center for Rural Progress published a report on suicide trends and prevention in rural Pennsylvania counties and schools, and key findings included the steep rise in suicides in Pennsylvania over the past 2 decades. And that increase was greater in rural communities. Whereas Governor Wolf's initial budget proposed including supporting the behavioral health needs of Pennsylvanians by investing $33.6 million additional funds in county mental health based funds on top of $75 million in federal funds for recruitment and retention and payments to qualifying home and community-based service providers, as well as $18.8 million to provide services for individuals with intellectual disabilities and/or autism currently on the emergency wait list. And whereas Carbon County has invested in community-based mental health services that coordinate and invest in programs and services that meet the needs and challenges of our communities. And whereas counties will need collaboration between the legislature and administration to work closely with them on a targeted strategic investment of dollars into community mental health services at the county level in order to continue the existing safety net and bolster the availability of mental health services to those who need them as vital steps in the right direction. And whereas with the Carbon County Board of Commissioners do hereby support an increase in funding for community health programs in accordance with the priorities of the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania and the General Assembly and Administration. Now therefore be it resolved that the Carbon County Board of Commissioners will submit the resolution and accompanying letter of support to the regional state representatives and senators and provide copies to the State Department of Human Services and the Governor's Office, as well as regional commissioners, in an effort to respectfully request the General Assembly and Administration take steps to address our crumbling mental health system. I adopted this by the Board of Commissioners of Carbon County this Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, 12th day of May 2022. Okay, signed by the Commissioners. This time I'd like to call on Larissa Kimmel and Kathleen Peterson from the Carmen Monroe Pike Mental Health Developmental Services Office, who takes care of the three counties, Carmen, Monroe, and Pike, and working together with the Joiner Board, the commissioners from all three counties. If you'd like to come up and talk a little bit about how dire the funding source or the funding needs are for not only Carbon County, but all of us.
Okay, sure. Good morning. Thank you for having us, and thank you for the approved resolution. So I wanted to just highlight what the mental health-based funds that we're looking to increase will cover: safe and affordable supported living in our housing programs, room and board or rent subsidies, employment, transportation, food, utilities, those that do not have insurance, and the student assistance program. As Commissioner Notstein indicated, through the resolution, we saw a 10% decrease in 2012, and we haven't had any, complicated by that decrease, we also have not seen an increase in over 14 years. The cost of living to our providers has increased significantly during that 14-year time span, which we're seeing in many industries, but there's staff shortages. We have waiting lists into our programs. We can't meet the needs of the people that we're already serving. And the staff that we have, we're seeing some burnout. So it's important for us to address the mental health needs of our own workforce, not just the individuals and the residents that we serve. We see that the individuals with a serious and persistent mental health illness really tugs on the infrastructure of our three communities. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that impact is and what we can do to divert people away from the high-cost services?
Yeah, so we're seeing a variety of challenges throughout our counties, one of which is lower workforce and ability for individuals to be served at lower levels of care. And when that happens, when there's a backup in services, then symptoms increase in individuals and their needs are not being met. Thus, they go to higher levels of care, like emergency rooms and out-of-home placements. And those services are likewise also very backed up for the same reasons that our community-based services are unable to serve our individuals. And when that occurs, we have a higher level of individuals who have greater needs, and they become much more complex. So more resources need to be used in order to really serve them and keep them safe within the community as well as within other settings. So when we don't have resources that assist those individuals and get their needs met, then there's really an explosion of a need, and a great increase in a need for those individuals. So it really has a great ripple effect from bottom up and from top down. And the more resources that we need to use for the higher level of need, the less resources we have for community-based services.
Okay, some of the other things that the effects of the mental health on our systems here is in the arrest and in our correctional facility to begin with, probably maybe 50% or more are in the correctional facility that have mental health issues. And the longer they sit in a prison before they finally get to the courts and maybe get the proper services or assistance that they need, their well-being gets worse or is harder to deal with as time goes on. There's many programs that we have started, like the reentry programs or diversion programs, where we're trying to teach our police officers that maybe not all, once they're arrested, it becomes a major issue, but if we can sort those people out that need mental health issues because that's what's causing the crime to begin with, if we can get them into the proper system prior to that, it saves us a lot of funding or a lot of money down the road as well. So it's extremely important in the funding end to prevent it, because it costs us so much more to house them at the prison, through the court system, and the problems become worse as they go. I forgot to bring in 2 flyers from the aging office that we got, the mental health there. It's in our schools and different programs. It's just a very expensive, and it just catapults everything into more and more expenses. One of the things that occurred several years ago was a closing of the facility in Allentown for mental health. And what that does is just pushes everything back onto the counties. Every time they pass a law, it's just more and more expenses. As Kathleen pointed out, how we had to cut several years ago, our expenses go up, and they have not been replenishing or keeping up with inflation for all our programs. So they cover most of them. Some of it.
Yeah,
That's
you
just a small.
really hit the most vulnerable populations that we're really trying to address right now are those are, we call them our forensics, so those that are involved in the criminal justice system, our elderly, as well as our youth. And we know the effect that all of their mental health needs have on just the systems and the facilities that they're in. So we're really hoping that we are able to continue to get some support and get increases so that we can serve and enhance the programs and services, as well as creatively come up with some additional ways to further address those high needs.
News media. Amy, you have anything first? You're good? Kelly, anything? Okay, nothing? Okay, thank you very much, ladies.
Okay, the next item is the report of executive sessions held.
There was one executive session held on Tuesday, May 10th at 1:30 p.m. for personnel.
Department reports. The budget transfers.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
There are no supplemental appropriations. Expenditures, approval of payroll check numbers 74285 through 74300, and direct deposit check numbers 6041574 through 6042018 for the payroll paid through the payroll fund checking account for all county funds totaling $627,888.25. $837.87. This is the payroll dated May 6, 2022.
Motion to ratify.
Second.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Approval of check numbers 228297 through 228506 for expenditures through the general fund clearing account totaling $7,441,313.83.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
The treasurer's report.
Move to accept.
Second.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes. At this time, we'll recess our weekly meeting of the Commissioners, and I'll reconvene the recessed salary board meeting from last week. Are there any guests concerning salary board business? Hearing none, we'll move on.
The report of executive sessions held.
There was one executive session held on May 10th, 2022 at 2:30 PM.
Next item, courts. Judge Nanovic?
Yes. Thank you. I'm going to make a motion in a moment, which I know is on your agenda, but it's important to put it in context. And the position at issue is the Department Clerk 3, which is currently at a grade step 6A, $11.95 an hour. The position was most recently held by Amanda Miller, who was paid at a grade 6D, $13.06 an hour. She left because I understand she was offered approximately $20,000 more a year than what she was currently making here. We've advertised the position twice. We've posted it twice. We've had very limited, very few applicants for the position. Of those, one or two who appeared to be suitable and would be, we thought, appropriate, they elected not to take the position because they could get wages higher elsewhere. One was a college student who was only here available for the summer months, and we're looking for a full-time, long-term position. Since 2013, there have been 5 individuals in this position. 2 have been there for only approximately a year, 2 for approximately a year to 2 years, and 1, Sarah, who is now in the court at a higher position. The turnover rate is unacceptable. The position takes approximately 1 to 2 years to train once the individual has been selected, which means that we're not even getting in full training before the position is being vacated. We're not getting the full use of the position. The position as described is allocated approximately 50% for court administration and 50% for jury supervision. It's a critical position. It is not a clerical position. The position involves skills, it involves knowledge, it involves being fluent in the use of software, it involves a jury software package that has to be utilized to make the system function. The clerk of courts, the Thaumaturge's office, domestic relations, adult probation, magistrate offices have all gotten additional staff, and justifiably so. I'm not criticizing that for a moment. But the result is increased paperwork on court administration, which means there's more volume that has to be handled. The effect of not keeping this position functional, staffed, and trained is that there's an increased burden, an unacceptable burden, being placed on the 2 other administrative assistants in that position. The jury supervisor position is involved in summoning jurors, is involved in taking attendance of jurors, is involved in overviewing their qualifications, is involved in seeing if they qualify for excuses, is involved in making sure they attend. It's a critical position for the smooth functioning of jury trials in this county. Without that position being filled, it is jeopardizing the smooth processing and smooth operation of a jury system. The individual who has left about 2 months ago. As I said, the position has not been filled for approximately 2 months. By default, by necessity, the only person who's been able to do it has been the district court administrator, Mr. Armstrong. He doesn't know the system. He hasn't been trained in the system. He's making his best efforts to make the system functional. But he's the highest paid administrative personnel in this county. And by default, he's required to devote untold hours to this position that should be filled by someone who's trained the position. The effect is it's diverting him, it's prohibiting him from doing what he should be doing as a district court administrator. He is paid by the state. He is not paid by this county. And it's a shame that he has to devote that time to it. The increase that we're asking for is $13.94 an hour at a grade and step 9A. The grade is what the 2 other administrative assistants are graded as now. And as I've told you, half the work for this position is for the same type of work as those 2 other administrative assistants do. The other half is for jury work, which is not clerical, it's not answering a phone alone, it's not simple secretarial work. It requires decision-making, training, knowledge of the court system, and skills. So it's not unfair, it's not unreasonable to have that equate to an administrative assistant. We are not asking for a new staff. We're asking to have a position compensated, commensurate with the duties, the responsibilities, the skills needed to fill that position. We want to get qualified applicants, but we're not looking only at qualifications for applicants. Like I said, we've gotten very few. We're looking at being able to retain a person, because this is totally self-defeating. It takes a year or 2 to train someone, we get someone, and they leave before they're trained. They're non-functional. The amount that we're asking for equates to $25,188.80 a year. That's approximately $4,000 more than what the county has its position rate set at now. As I said, Ms. Miller would pay at a higher rate. The county has a policy when a person leaves a position, they drop it down to an A level. They really do. So the county already dropped it below what she was making. The amount we're asking is approximately $1,400 more than Ms. Miller was making at the time she left. It's not an extravagant amount. You have to be cognizant of what the economy is today. We see the inflation rate all over. People need a livable rate, livable wages to live. As I said, this is only slightly in excess of $23,000 what you have it at now. It's a full-time position. How do you expect to attract candidates who can do this and live with the amount? It can't. The amount is currently set at, I'm told, I understand, you can go to McDonald's, a Lowe's, a Walmart, and get paid more. And their responsibilities, their skills are not anywhere near what's needed here. I know in our executive session, I was asked, will this amount that we're asking for get what we want? I don't know. I don't know if it's enough. But we have to start somewhere. I think we're making an extremely reasonable request. I have a hard time understanding why it's so difficult to even have this request accepted. But we'll see what the board decides. My motion is to establish the position of one administrative assistant at $13.84 per hour, which is a grade 9, step A, effective as of May 12th, 2022.
I'll second that.
Judge Nanovic?
Yes.
Mr. Severcek?
Yes.
Mr. Arner?
No.
Mr. Lukasevich?
No.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes. First of all, I want to apologize to you, Judge. I didn't know you'd be up here, and I didn't want your back to the camera. After this, I'll ask you to come up forward here so that the camera can see you as well. And we're in a difficult situation here. I know what you're saying. We all know what you're saying as far as the salaries. But I want to remind everyone in this room that we're the ones that sit in the hot seat and have to raise the taxes. It was not provided for in this year's budget, but I understand your plight. We have it in many other offices as well. Yeah, you could probably address that or make the same statement for every office in this county that you had just spoke about this morning. So yes, our employees, especially at the lower end, and have to pay for childcare. They may be a single parent. They can't even afford to go out and get a job because they can't afford childcare. So yeah, we have many things to look at here. Hopefully with the salary study, and it won't be done before the end of the year, unfortunately, but I know we're gonna have other people coming to us for the same issues. We're having trouble hiring all over the county, and it's not only Carbon County, it's throughout the whole Commonwealth, but it's what's bad with government is we have to go back to the taxpayers. So that is our issue that we have to deal with, but hope you find a new person soon at this rate.
No, and I hope so too, and I appreciate those who voted in favor of the motion. But I think it's necessary.
And my gripe is not against this person or this position. It's like we have an entire county, and I think it's a crime when we hire somebody for $11.16. And I just think that if we're giving something to somebody like this, it should be all the way across the board. And that's why we did this salary study. I mean, this person could eventually maybe get a raise of $2. I don't know. But I just don't like separating people because now somebody's gonna say, okay, this person got a raise. Now, what do? I'm on that same level. And now how does that make that person feel? I'd like to have everybody that would get a raise eventually feel good instead of just one person. That's where I'm at. And everybody across the board, if you look at children and youth, if you look anywhere across the county, we are underpaid. And like Wayne said, it's gonna get to the point that I think the people are gonna have to realize that if we wanted justice, I mean, we had the public come in and say, we're underpaid, and everybody says that. We realize that, but I just don't like that thing of coming in every month and this person needs a raise and that person needs a raise. If we're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it in a study, then let's give them 20 people at that level, that same amount of raise, and you keep stepping up. I just don't like stepping individuals at a time. That's my gripe of it. And this person is probably well worth it. I wouldn't doubt it. And you are in a bad situation, but so is every other department that's in the county. And that's just the way I look at it.
My second motion, in light of the vote on the first motion, is to abolish the position of one department clerk 3 at $11.95 per hour, which is a grade 6, step A, and that also would be effective as of May 12th, 2022.
I will second that.
Judge Nanovic?
Yes.
Mr. Severcek?
Yes.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Principal, no.
Mr.
Thank you.
Notstein?
Have a good day.
Yes.
Okay, the next item is the public defender. Change the salary of one full-time assistant public defender from $58,526.25 per annum to $63,338.50 per annum, effective June 3rd, 2022.
Move to change the salary.
Second.
Mr. Severcek?
Yes.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Register of Wills, Mrs. Pepe?
I'd like to make a motion to establish the position of one temporary part-time clerical specialist at $11.16 per hour, grade 4, step B, effective May 12th, 2022 through December 31st, 2022, excluded from retirement plan, not anticipated to work 1,000 hours.
Move to modify the motion to grade 9, step A. Which would be $13.84 an hour.
I accept that.
So that's a second.
That's a second. Mrs. Pepe,
Yes.
Mr. Severcek,
No.
Mr. Arner,
No.
Mr. Lukasevich,
Yes.
Mr. Notstein.
Here we go.
I think this is a critical position.
Correct. So I just want to give a little background so people understand. This time frame, there's going to be a possibility that my first deputy and second deputy will be out on family medical leave. At that point, I'll have no staff for this time frame. It'll be myself and, well, I have Liz, but she cannot do this work of swearing in people when they come in for their probates. And so it's only for a small time frame until I can get staff back in the office.
So
Mr.
right there, now we're 2 and 2, huh?
Mr. Notstein, I need your vote.
And I'll vote yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's all we have for salary board.
Okay,
We might
meeting
have to-
adjourned.
we might have to work on our own salary study shortly.
Okay. All right, salary board is adjourned. We'll now reconvene our monthly meeting, our weekly meeting of the county commissioners.
The next item is the personnel report for county department.
Move to approve.
Second,
Mr. Arner,
yes.
Mr. Lukasevich.
Yes.
Mr. Notstein.
Yes.
The acknowledgements for courts and row offices.
Motion acknowledged,
Second.
Mr. Arner,
yes.
Mr. Lukasevich,
Yes.
Mr. Notstein.
Yes.
Correspondence was received as listed. Copies will be made available to the press upon request. Advertising for approval. Authorize the advertisement of the Zoom public hearing notice regarding modifying the CDBG CV funds from Business Assistance, Public Service Healthcare Program, and Public Service School Health Education Program to Family Promise Women's Shelter.
I'm going to ask we consider modifying this particular motion to include in-person and Zoom. Zoom alone does not afford those individuals who do not have internet connectivity the opportunity to express their opinion on the issue. And since, we are at a status where we can allow individuals to come together, I would just ask we make that modification.
I'll second that with the modification,
Mr. Arner,
yes.
Mr. Lukasevich.
Yes.
Mr. Notstein.
Yes.
Bid award. For approval, request was received from the purchasing manager to extend the recommendation for 1 week to award or reject bids opened April 28th, 2022 for the Muk Chunk Opera House HVAC.
Yeah. Move to extend.
Second,
Mr. Arner,
yes.
Mr. Lukasevich.
Yes.
Mr. Notstein.
Yes.
District Court. This is for the Jim Thorpe office. An agreement with ESCO Incorporated of Euphradia, Pennsylvania for monitoring services for security cameras and panic buttons located at the Jim Thorpe office, effective June 1, 2022 through May 31, 2023. Service calls will be charged $160 per visit, and subsequent labor will be charged at $140 per hour in fractional hours. This represents an increase of $12 in the subsequent labor. Annual monitoring fee, $208.
Motion approved and execute,
Second.
Mr. Arner?
yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
District Court Lansford. Same agreement with ESCO Incorporated of Euphradia, Pennsylvania for monitoring services for security cameras and panic buttons for the period of June 1, 2022 through May 31, 2023. Service calls charged at $160 per visit. Subsequent labor charged at $140 per hour in fractional hours. Increase of $12 for the subsequent labor. Annual monitoring fee of $208.
Motion to approve and execute.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
District Court, Palmerton Office. Same agreement with ESCO Incorporated of Euphradia, Pennsylvania for monitoring services for security cameras and panic buttons, June 1, 2022 through May 31, 2023. Service calls $160 per visit, and subsequent labor charged at $140 per hour in fractional hours. Increase of $12 for the subsequent labor. Annual monitoring fee $208.
Motion to approve and execute.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
The Solicitor's Report.
Thank you. A banner request was submitted by Renegades Incorporated to display a banner at the Jim Thorpe train station for the Jim Thorpe Area Running Festival on May 14th and 15th of 2022. The banner to be displayed from today, May 12th, until May 15th of 2022.
Move to approve and execute.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Next, on the elevator modernization project, received a change order number 1 to the subcontract with Bognet Incorporated of Hazleton, Pennsylvania, to add sound attenuation or noise reduction to the elevator doors at no additional cost.
Move to approve and execute.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
A special activities agreement for the Hoven parking lot was submitted by the Jim Thorpe Tourism Agency for the purpose of food vending at the parking lot on May 28th, 29th, and 30th. That's Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, Memorial Day of 2022, pending the receipt of valid insurance certificate.
Motion to approve and execute.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
And lastly, a resolution for adoption acknowledging the retirement of Sergeant Major of the Army Daniel A. Daly.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
And I'll go ahead and read segments of the resolution. This resolution is being prepared by the Board of Commissioners in concert with a luncheon being hosted in honor of and recognition of the previous effective retirement of Sergeant Major of the Army, retired Dan Daly of Palmerton. Whereas Sergeant Major of the Army, retired Dan A. Daly, a native of Palmerton, Pennsylvania, a son of Eileen Daly and the late David Daly Sr., husband of wife Holly and father of Dakota, enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1989. Graduated from Palmerton Area High School in 1990 and earned a Bachelor of Science degree, graduating summa cum laude from Excelsior University. And whereas Sergeant Major of the Army, retired Daniel A. Daly, was sworn in as the 15th Sergeant Major of the Army, the branch's highest-ranking official, on January 30th, 2015. Sergeant Major of the Army, retired Daniel A. Daly, was the Army Chief of Staff's personal advisor on matters affecting the enlisted force. And whereas Sergeant Major of the Army, retired Daniel A. Daly, was the public face of the U.S. Army's non-commissioned officer corps. He traveled throughout the Army to observe training and to visit soldiers and their families. And whereas during his career, Sergeant Major of the Army, retired Daniel A. Daly, served with the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Infantry Divisions, stateside and overseas. In 2011, Sergeant Major of the Army, retired Daly, was elected to serve as the Command Sergeant Major of the United States Army Training and Doctrine Command. And whereas Sergeant Major of the Army, retired Daniel A. Daly, completed 4 tours in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom and New Dawn. He was also deployed in support of Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield. And whereas Sergeant Major of the Army, retired Daniel Daly, has been recognized with numerous awards and decorations for his service. Whereas Sergeant Major of the Army, retired Daly, through his outstanding career, has brought great pride and honor to his family, his hometown, his alma mater, and this county. Now therefore be it resolved by the members of the Carbon County Board of Commissioners to congratulate Sergeant Major of the Army retired Daniel A. Daly on the occasion of his retirement and extend their gratitude for the many years of service he has given the country on behalf of the citizens of Carbon County and offer their best wishes in all his future endeavors. Signed this 12th day of May 2022.
Okay. And this award will be handed to Sergeant Major of the Army Daly tomorrow afternoon, or Saturday afternoon, at a dinner honoring him for his service. And this is actually planned 2 years ago because of COVID. It had to be pushed off, so we'll be presenting this resolution to him on Saturday afternoon, and well-deserved. And what a historic time in Carbon County for his service. And we've had several others over the years, and generals and distinguished personnel in the military, so. Okay, that's all I have there.
Next item, further business?
Yeah, I'll do this on our further business. There was a meeting yesterday, unfortunately, I'm on the board of directors for the County Commissioners Association. And they were taking a poll. They didn't have a quorum because of our commitments, and they were doing a roll call vote online of support of a resolution opposing the interstate bridge tolling plan. And the returns that I have seen this morning so far is well over the required amount to pass the resolution. So this, I would think, will be formally adopted at not only our executive board meeting coming up next month, but as well as our annual conference in the new platform for our following year in the Commissioners Association. Have not seen one board member oppose this resolution. They are all supporting it. It is not a comprehensive solution to the problem of revenue loss for transportation infrastructure. There was a Transportation Revenue Options Commission report released that studied the issues comprehensively, and no one is talking about that. How much will this actually project bring to the county or to the state for infrastructure, since it is based on Easy Pass and toll by plate, the latter of which has failed miserably in collections? Our platform opposes diversion of transportation funds for the purposes, and nothing has been addressed regarding the diversion to state police to pay their salaries. And that at one time was $800 million a year. Also, there's no plan for additional revenues to support the additional wear and tear on county bridges and roads from the diversion to the local roads. So the commissioners are going on record. I wanted to read that today, and I'm sure the other counties are all following suit, will pass, maybe not only bring it up, but maybe even pass resolutions opposing it. And Carbon County is one that they are proposing a bridge on Interstate 80. So, and I forget where the other ones are offhand, but it definitely will affect the local roads even in our county. So I wanted to bring that to your attention today. Okay.
Okay, Commissioners' reports. Mr. Arner?
I might continue a little bit on Wayne's. I did do an interview with Channel 13 last week on the issue, and my point is, where is all this infrastructure money that was coming out? You know, and now we're gonna go and we're gonna tax our people that wanna go to work, and then make it out like it's one way. So you just gotta pay one way to get home, or is it one way to go to work? So which are you gonna do? Are you gonna go to work and maybe not come home? You know, I mean, it's like they don't really make no sense of it. And like, even like with the money, like the money is, it's gonna be, or the monitors are gonna be put on our bridge, and it's gonna go for several bridges across the state. Are we getting a percentage? What is our percentage of it? We don't even know where the money is going. You know, and I just think it's terrible. And like Wayne had said, our bridges that, in fact, they asked us about our bridges. I mean, you look at some of our bridges, they're okay to drive over. You know, they're torn up, and what's gonna happen when people wanna avoid this $3 a day, then bridges are gonna get worse. So we are gonna need more money to correct our bridges. So it's not really helping any of the counties out. And that go back to the question, where is all this money from this infrastructure plan that we were supposed to get? I mean, we're limited on things that we have to do. I mean, I know, in fact, I was told yesterday, Channel 13 was at our bridge in Lehigh. You know, the one that's there by Pizza Hut. And that's a bridge that could probably be repaired for $500,000. Now, in 3 years from now, it's not gonna be that. It might be a replacement. It would be nice for us to have 500,000 here, you know, a couple $1 million across the county that we can fix bridges before they get bad. You know, we can't afford this, that if we have 4 bridges that are gonna have to be replaced in 5 years from now, we can't even get a couple $100,000 now. Where are we gonna get the money from for millions of dollars in 4 years from now? And I'm against this, and I said, I actually registered to go to the event and speak about it, and they gotta figure something else out here. And like I said, where's the money that was in this infrastructure plan? That's my only question. And that's it. Well, I do have one other thing. The veterans food distribution is up to 180 veterans right now. So it's like, and it keeps climbing, and we have been approached by another area that we might, hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have that 3rd one that's in the middle of the county. And that's about it.
Okay. Mr. Lukasevich?
I have a list. Courts, domestic relations, adult probation, juvenile probation, children and youth services, veteran services, the prison, aging, public defender, the commissioner's office, EMA. And I only raise this because we talked about the crumbling mental health system. I think the citizens of Carbon County should recognize that it is a whole of county government approach. There's not one particular entity or office that leads it up, but it's everyone kind of rowing in the same direction in a synchronized manner to try to address the continuing issue with this. That's all I have.
Yeah, I just want to correct Rocky on one thing about that 500,000 to
Oh,
fix
yeah.
the bridge. That's probably just the engineering fees.
Well, and no, but that bridge, like when we got the report last year, like it's a top coat that has to be done to that. There doesn't have to be much done to the structure, and that's when you've got to get this stuff. Like if you have a house and you let your roof go, the rest of it's gonna go. So some of these we could do for a minimum. I mean, like you said, it's not maybe 500,000, but if it is $1 million, but it's gonna turn into 10 times that amount in 5 years. Like we just can't stand that, you know, it's,
Better look at the side rails.
Yeah, I know. well.
That's why I say that. I'm not just talking about the decking, it's more to it than that. One other issue that I'd like to bring up again, or bring up today, well, I should say again, and I know Chris has talked about it before, and late yesterday afternoon, and I know it's not on the agenda, we received another resignation letter from our parking lot supervisor, and he's gonna be resigning in 30 days. Pardon?
It's gonna be changed to retirement. not
Okay, to
resignation.
retirement,
Because of the
Okay.
previous service.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's why it's not on
Okay,
today's
just in a
personnel
correction.
report. I had to speak with him about a correction in his letter.
I stand it corrected, but the real reason I brought it up is because one of the reasons that the person is leaving is because of health, and part of it, but it's also he can't take the abuse anymore, the yelling and carrying on at him, as well as all our parking lot attendants. People today are extremely rude. What don't they understand? When the parking lot is full, it is full, and why take it out on our parking attendants and yelling at them, take it out on them? They don't write the rules, we write the rules. So don't take it out on our employees. That's not only that office, but, you know, tell us about it. But to then come in and be so rude and disruptive and tie up the system even more, and complain and carry on. Today's society, people have no respect whatsoever for others or for the rules and policies of others. They go to other cities, do they carry on and act up like that? I think not, but it's a strenuous job. I know we had problems before, and we talked about the abuse that this person put up with as a corrections officer was not near as bad as how he's treated by our visitors here in Carbon County. So I just wanted to bring that to the public's attention again, and its society in general anymore is really deteriorating with no respect. So that's all I have. Meeting adjourned. Okay, one more meeting. This should be a quick one. Carol?
Good morning.
Morning. Call the monthly meeting of Election Board to order. Carol?
Alrighty. Okay, agenda for the election board meeting of May 12th, 2022. Approve the minutes from election board meeting held on April 14th, 2022.
Motion.
Second.
All right. Mr. Honor,
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes. Are there any guests concerning election board business? Hearing none, we'll move on.
All right, approve voter registration totals of eligible electors in precincts that may participate in the primary election to be held on Tuesday, May 17th, 2022.
Motion.
Second, discussion, if we could give the numbers for the purpose for the public that are
Yes.
listed there.
So, the voter registration totals of eligible electors in precincts that may participate in the general primary to be held on Tuesday, May 17th, 2022. Democratic, 15,582. Republican, 21,240, for a total of 36,822. I do want to point out that unless you are a registered Democrat or Republican, you will not be voting in the May primary. You will be voting in the November election. All right. Mr. Honor,
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
And Mr. Notstein.
Yes.
Approve election board vacancy appointments of registered electors in Carbon County who will serve as precinct election officials in the primary election to be held on Tuesday, May 17th, 2022.
Motion to approve the list.
Second.
All right, Mr. Honor,
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich,
Yes.
Mr. Notstein.
Yes. Any updates or anything for mail-ins or?
Absolutely. So we issued approximately 3,500 ballots, and we've received, as of yesterday, May 11th, 2130 ballots. So we've got about a 61% return, which is good. And we encourage everyone who hasn't sent in their ballot to please do so. Voting is so important. Thank you.
How about other vacancies on judges of elections and et cetera?
We want to thank the gentleman who was very honorable and stepped up to take over the judgeship in Palmerton 49. So right now, we are all good with 100% judges covered. Thank you.
Anything else to report in the elections?
Going well. We're excited, and we're looking forward to a good election. Thank you.
Okay. Any further business for the election board? Hearing none, meeting adjourned. Want to go first there?
Yeah, just talk about, go back with salary. How hard is it, to balance, giving a person a livable wage, but also not cash-strapping the taxpayers kind of thing?
Well, it was coming sooner or later. And, in my voting, yes, and the second one was a little bit tougher. But we have to start somewhere. And this doesn't mean that the increases we've given today are gonna stay, subject to the salary study and reclassifications maybe of people. My biggest complaint over the years has been the various scales. At one time, we had 18 levels of supervisory and about 16 or so of other employees, and always makes this job a lot more difficult in trying to group together the employees in different departments. We have so many different names, secretary 3, we have clerk 3, et cetera, and a lot of these I think should be grouped together into smaller groups. Was that the right decision today by me in particular on the second motion in the Register of Wills? Because should have compared the job description a little bit before that was done, but it's done. We'll have to proceed, and I predict within the, we'll have a lot of people at our next meeting, let's put it that way. A lot of requests. Anything else? Kelly? Good morning.
Copy of the resolutions, please. And, do you have anything written on the vote on the tolling?
On the what?
On the toll for,
Do you have anything written?
No, we don't have that.
Okay, that was all I had.
Okay. Amy?
Good morning.
Morning.
May I also have a copy of the resolutions for the mental health as well as Dan Daly, and a copy of the correspondence on the polling meeting? And, not on the agenda, but I was just wondering what the time frame is looking like for children and youth moving into the newly heightened building.
Not quick enough.
well, we're having a couple little snags here with like even getting the bids out. And we wanted to be in the building by Christmas time, but it's not gonna look like that. We're probably gonna get the bids out hopefully by July. We're looking July, August, and then hopefully September, October. We'd like to get it started, but then the project itself is gonna last for 6 months. They're gonna work on the back of the building. I don't know if, once we progress, if they're gonna give us occupancy to maybe go in the back of the building till the front is done, because the front is gonna be all fiscal. But that's something, I mean, we're probably not looking for them to have them in totally probably till March. What do you think, Bob? Maybe like March, that's our deadline. And we sort of like, the architects and everybody, we sort of put their feet to the fire that we want this bid out in like in a couple, we should have that within, say, June, July, somewhere around in there, that we should have everything together, that hopefully like September, the work will be done or start, and the process is 6 months to get it done, which I'm not crazy over it. I wish they would have been in there already, but we just have to go by that. I mean, it's like, and everybody was looking forward to going in, and now it's probably maybe took a little wind out of their sails now, but we have to encourage them that we're still working on it yet. And hopefully that's gonna be our last deadline, March 31st.
Amy,
I'm hoping.
though, again, and I'm gonna say, we have an opportunity there. And I'm using actually Doyle's comment yesterday at Leadership Carbon, right? It's not a challenge, it's an opportunity. We do have a zoning opportunity that we're working through in regards to parking and the number of individuals who will occupy that. But again, our Boyle Construction, some are working with zoning to try to mitigate that issue. You know, number of spaces for a number of employees and individuals who will be utilizing that location for services.
And I think the original, like we were expecting 50 employees in that department. I don't think it'll ever get to that, you know. I think they're doing a wonderful job. They're actually getting more complaints than they did years ago, and it's being handled. You know, there's less cases that aren't being worked on. I mean, I shouldn't say that all of them are being worked on, but it looks like we're not gonna have to have that 48 people in that department. I mean, we're looking in the 30s, because every day we're losing different people. And we're looking at different technology that's gonna make it easier for them, you know, for filling out their forms. And that's what's gonna cut down on the paperwork. I mean, there's entirely too much paperwork. And I think we're gonna discuss when we go to CCAP at our next conference, like we have to address this, that there's entirely too much paperwork there. You know, they fill one paper out, and then the next step they go to is almost the same paper. Like, why can't there be something that it just continues right through to make it easier for them? And that's where I think the mistakes are made, when you transfer from one paper to the other. You know, that should go right from that form and right on in the, I mean, we have the technology. I mean, I'm not a technology person, but I heard we have the best technology in the world, so let's use it.
That's another push too, is the reimbursement rate, you know, for children and youth. I mean, every time you turn around, and we talked about a couple of them today already, the bridge tolling and reimbursement for mental health and regulations on the children and youth. You know, nobody wants to make the move at the upper levels to raise the taxes, but every time they pass a law, it comes back on the counties. We're the ones that, you know, are on the front lines. We're in the community every day, and we're the ones that have to make the decision to raise taxes because of the mandates and the lack of their support, I should say, in increasing funding for the different programs that they mandate. So I'm getting a little frustrated with them. I'm getting a little testy in my old age, and I'll become more vocal probably as I lose it. But yeah, it's just gets frustrating on our level because you're dealing with this all the time and trying to talk to the people in Harrisburg who a lot of times have no clue what we're talking about. They never were a county commissioner. They don't know the day-to-day things, like elections is a prime example. You get people in the Department of State or people that never ran an election, and these people do not listen to the election directors or the counties who have been running elections for years. They want to do it their way, and they don't care about us. They don't care about the burden they put on the counties for elections and changing the dates for returns. What did our budget drop? Quite a bit, I'd have to look, but our budget didn't drop, I should say, jumped because of the additional staff that we have to hire to do the counting of the ballots and everything else. And who pays for it? The county does. We don't get reimbursed for all that stuff. So it's, you know, time they better, you know, wake up and, you know, step up to the plate too. We can't keep raising the taxes. We don't want to be the bad guys.
Yeah, and even like on the mental health issue, like next week, we have a psychologist and a caseworker that's actually gonna be working in the public defender's office, and that's for cases like to try to get people either out of jail or not put them in before that. And they don't realize that that's from a grant for us. Now that grant runs out in 2 years, and we would like to continue that. What's gonna happen if, you know, in 2 years from now, and you have to have this 80,000 here for a person and you don't get the help? I mean, and a lot of them, like years ago, you looked at maybe children and youth, but now you're having mental health issues within children and youth. You know, not severe, heavily cases, but it's crossing over. So some of that the ladies were here talking about, the mental health, that's coming to every department, and like I think they said, employees are so overworked that they need some help also. I mean, we gotta give them a little bit of relief, you know, and it's like the state just does not see it. I mean, it's like they have that budget, and like we need another couple $1 million to try to help, just to do it a little bit. I mean, I'm sure Wayne could tell you like what it was years ago, maybe what the budget was. The budget is shocking today. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, it's like more than our budget at the county for the 3 counties, so. All right,
That's
we
it.
could talk on this all day, I guess, but.
Next week, retirement board.
Yeah, oh, God.
We do have someone coming in, I believe?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right.